crowd of voters at a time like this, we expect that he should even know better.
Yeah, you know, you asked the
the
question
rules?
which he did not answer. You said what warranted his addressing the people. There are two different things. The law as it is no campaign on the day of the election. I don't think he has done any campaign. I don't know whether you understand me. But coming to a polling booth or a place and there is problem, chaos, or anarchy, like what we experienced the other clip before now, the major issue there also now is the issue of the card reader. I think as the chief security officer of the state, he can tell people everybody should be calm, that everything will be in order.
But in a situation where he is a contestant, would it not be very easy for people to misinterpret?
No, you're right.
Especially when the other candidates who are, for instance, if the candidate of the APC or PDP or UPP or PPA get to hear that he addressed, they're going to take it up.
No, you are right. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't create a room, a lacuna. It is INEC that is causing all these issues. For example, that place is his hometown and maybe his polling booth. If at the end of the day, people there see it that the candidate is not working, they might think it's a ploy. You know, I said it before, to defranchise them so that he will not have any vote there. And the revolution may start from there. Problem may start from there. Demonstration may start from there, giving room for hoodlums to now come in. So in the wisdom of the governor, he may now think, okay, let me address people to be calm. I don't know whether you understand me. Everybody be calm. Despite maybe, which I felt that was where he now edged a bit. He might say, despite every attempt to maybe to man us, I believe by the special grace of God, we're going to carry the day. You now see where campaign now comes in. I don't know. That is what I'm trying to say. You don't create rooms. Give it because he has every room now to defend his action. Because he, remember, maybe he's the only person that has been allowed to vote through manual. Remember that generally the REC officer in Anambra said there's not going to be manual voting. But now it has happened. So are you now going to tell the governor that has come out with his authentic PVC that he's not going to vote because Kadra is not working? I don't know whether you understand me.
Exactly.
So these are the issues. So now that this one has happened, what follows suit? Is it not better for INEC now to say, okay, resort to manual voting, use manual? And when people are even aggrieved about the issue of manual, you see, I have worked as an ad hoc staff of INEC when I was in the school, even as a returner and all the rest. Now, let me tell you, that's why I'm talking about sincerity. If you have a sincere and trusted INEC, the register, once the register is authentic, one name cannot appear two times. What it means is that once you go to polling booth A and your name is Emeka Ugochukwu, and your name is in there and ticked, like they used to do before, you vote with this thing. What it means is that there's no other place in the whole of Anambra State you will see Emeka Ugochukwu, with or without picture. I don't know whether you understand me. Except if there is coincidence of name. But even if there's coincidence of name, the number can never be the same.
Exactly.
Things are very simple. The number can never be the same. So multiple voting will occur where there are fictitious names and people are given cards or what do you call it, voters card to go and vote anywhere. You go there, you answer that name. And if you answer this name in ward A, you go to ward B, you see the same name. I don't know whether you understand me. So that is the problem.
Wow. Okay. They also mentioned something. They said that the voters who are supposed to go cast their ballot and leave are the ones assisting the electoral officers in what they are supposed to do.
Yes.
And we know that INEC spends so much money training because, in fact, they mentioned it that all their staff and all of their officers have been trained towards this election. That's why they deployed all of these people there. Now, what impact will this have Because he talked about credibility. He was talking about confidence in the system earlier on.
Yes, in a way, it's indirectly mortgaging the system. But in any case, let's even look at this issue of INEC has trained and trained. Maybe those of you who are here in the media who watch all this, I have never even seen any of those scenes. How this, at least they should give us a little clip on how, yes, on how these people are being trained. So, is it that the training is not adequate, or they gave the wrong training? That is why these things are happening the way they are. Because from what your man there reported, it looks like even those who were not trained know the things better than those who were trained. So what do you make of this? I think that we need to, when we talk about training and training and training, just like the Nigeria police, you see, they are trained, and yet you see them doing things that suggest that they are not trained, or that they are not well trained. So chances are that the INEC officials are trained, but not well trained. And even if they are well trained, you see, the tools can equally make a workman to be a lazy man or a strong man. The tools are equally faulty. So even if they had the best training, what do you work with? The card reader on which the major training is focused is abysmally performing below, expectation. As a matter of fact, it's not even performing, not to talk of below. All right? So when you have this kind of situation, what you are going to get is a situation where people will get agitated, and at the end of the day, the process, the credibility of the process will be mortgaged. That is what may likely happen, if not for maybe the report we are now getting that they are now resorting to a manual, treatment of the entire process where card readers fail. If not for that, you will say, why will I leave my house, come to a polling unit, I know I have registered, and I have what it takes to vote, the PVC, and the next thing you are telling me that I cannot vote because of one machine that you brought from somewhere. When I was registering, it wasn't the machine that determined everything. All right? So it will create a serious challenge for the process. But again, on the question of, the address of the governor, we need to look at it very critically. Interestingly, your man who reported did not show us the clip that this was how the governor was actually talking to the people. Whether it was the pressmen he was addressing, we don't know, because your man there said that if not for that particular, public address system, even the press would not have been able to capture, what he was saying. So we don't know now, until maybe we'll find that particular clip, how he was addressing them, who he was addressing, the content of the address.
What he said.
Yeah, until we get all of that, it will be difficult for us here to tell whether he has gone against the rules. The fact remains that he remains the governor of Anambra State. The fact that he's contesting does not take away his right as the governor of Anambra State. The fact that he's contesting does not take away his right as the governor of the state and as the chief security officer. And again, that is his own terrain, his community, where he would not want any form of violence, because it's a major base, it's a major place of strength. So anything that would truncate votes in that place will, adversely affect him. But the question of the, the party agents, is a very critical question. A very curious thing we need to look at. Is it that the other parties are not on ground in that place?
Because I earlier said that only one political party agents are there.
Because I don't want to believe that they were chased away from the place. Because nobody has made any such, allegation or claim that social parties
they were not allowed
were not allowed to come in here. So maybe the entire people from Guleri, Muleri, or whatever are all from from Abga. But again, that raises a very serious question too, because truly, when you look at these three big, ethnic groups, the Igbos, the Yorubas, and the Hausa Fulanis, you can relate the other two big parties to this particular area. The only one that ordinarily would have been from the east, is Abga. All right? Now, even Chief Uhuegbu, who is the one we can say the eye of the party, the main icon, the son has left.
To another political
party. Are you getting it?
Exactly.
So now, for me, I really don't understand whether the Southeast really has that, vision of trying to project, a party that presents an ideology that represents them, per se. I don't know whether there is such a strategic arrangement, but I want to think that considering the trend of political, parties in Nigeria, that has always been one thing that has been playing out. I'm really very surprised. Yes, I'm surprised.
Even pre-independence and then
it's really a bit surprising that
the First Republic and Second Republic.
It has always been.
It has always been.
You can talk about UPN, you can talk about MPN, you can talk about, it has always been. So maybe we are trying to, the East is now trying to be a bit destabilized, perhaps.
Therefore, the East is known to be an egalitarian society.
Yes.
Even the culture itself is egalitarian in nature.
Indeed.
And so maybe that too has
Indeed, but that has
not
really changed the political, style over time. There has always been these parties with this kind of inclination.
Okay, and then let's talk about IPOB now, because IPOB, there's no way we will talk about this election without mentioning IPOB. They have been carrying out, or they carried out threats in the past, and we saw how things got to the level to which it is right now, with the security being assuring people that everything is okay. But in the last 2 days, there has been a statement from the spokesman of IPOB that people should not. In fact, if you see the papers today, we're saying that IPOB were telling people that there is going to be a bloody Saturday. So now, Justice, what impact will this have? Even though we've seen from from the reports we've gotten so far, people are going out, but we still know that there are people who might still be affected by some of these threats by IPOB. What impact will this have on apathy?
Well, I think my take on that is that I don't really believe on that because most times nowadays I'm not always interested much on what the newspapers are writing, the media and all the rest, because
why not? But it's a reflection of what
yeah, because at times it doesn't really follow simpliciter the true position. On a more serious note, if I tell you, yes, I'm a media person, but I'm not really too happy with the media in this country because they have even gone political, unlike what the media is supposed to be. You see, but the issue there is this. If actually there was something like that, remember, how can you talk about IPOB without these big wigs that are contesting this election today? Is it possible?
Okay. Now, talking about IPOB now, we're just getting reports that an IPOB member has been arrested. All right, let's cross over to Femi Akonde. Femi, can you give us an update? What is going on there?
Yes, Mike, thank you very much. I would tell you that the situation here degenerated as fast as the speed of light. You know, it started from the issue of hard reader to the issue of some unwanted people loitering around the voting area, and then suddenly some other person was accused of being a member of the Independent People of Biafra. He was accused of coming around to disrupt the whole electoral process, and an angry mob descended on him and beat him up before police officers intervened and broke up the angry mob and then arrested that person suspected to be a member of the Indigenous People of Biafra. Anybody now accused of belonging to this IPOB group is tagged a public enemy around here now. The people are really agitated. They are really agitated, but the police presence now is very visible on ground. The police officers at the polling unit have already called for backup. We've seen some other police officers moving around with arms, of course with their guns, to ensure that calm is restored to the area and the whole voting can continue in a peaceful atmosphere.
Now, earlier on, we were talking about slight agitation in that polling unit. What is the voting process right now? Has it been truncated, or has the issue been rectified earlier?
No, the issue is yet to be fixed. Yes, it is yet to be rectified because we saw the presiding officer here making making frantic efforts to reach out to, I believe, his superiors. So we believe that someone is expected to come in to fix it. Probably they'll bring another card reader. But you know, yesterday we were discussing and INEC said there is no plan B. And people are saying, why won't you have a plan B? And this is exactly what we're talking about. Now the card reader is faulty. There is no plan B. The voters, registered voters, will not be allowed to fill the incident form. And this, I would say, would slow down the process.
All right, now let's get back to the security situation. The suspected IPOB member that has been arrested. Now, what are the people's feeling and disposition to the threats by IPOB that people should stay at home today and they shouldn't come out to vote?
Well, I would say that the people have taken charge of the process and they are ready to fight against any external force that is out to scuttle this process. And of course, they expressed that in their anger against the person suspected to be a member of the indigenous people of Biafra before policemen whisked him away. Another person, fingers were pointed at another person of belonging to the IPOB group, and the policemen immediately whisked that same person away. Anybody now at this time that is suspected to be a member of the indigenous people of Biafra would get into trouble around here, because the people are ready to stand and protect their vote, to monitor the whole voting process. And this is at Uhuegbu at Anambra East local government. Most of the polling units, I've visited about 3 polling units in this area, and that is the situation. The card readers are not working, and they're having pockets of mild violence because of allegations of some people belonging to IPOB. And you can see the presence of security operatives. They are moving around the whole area to ensure that calm is restored and to ensure that all the restive youths that are loitering around here trying to scuttle the process are not allowed to succeed.
All right, Femi, we are a little concerned right now. Those persons who are arrested by the police on the ground that the people pointed accusing fingers and saying they're IPOB members, are there any ways or measures that the police verify to ensure that they were IPOB members and not maybe just youths who are getting agitated?
Well, I think the police had to act at the spur of the moment. The most important thing for them to do was to whisk away those people accused of belonging to IPOB, because their presence here was a major concern for other registered voters, and of course it got them agitated. So the first thing the policemen did was to whisk them away. So I believe they will do after taking them to their police post, they'll go and do the interrogation and verify if indeed they are members of IPOB or they are just some tools in the hands of some politicians around here. I think that is left for the police to do.
All right, make us understand, these persons that have been arrested, in what way were they trying to disrupt the process?
Well, some of them got close to the voting area. They infringed on the voting area. You know, there's a distance you can get to the voting area. So as soon as they got to the voting area, people got concerned. They are not party agents. They are not INEC officials. They didn't have any sort of identification. I know there are people around here. They know themselves, and they know some of the people in their community that belong to the indigenous people of Biafra. So it's based on the information from of course, the locals here, that they were able to point fingers at certain people saying that these persons belong to the IPOB group.
All right, how many people have been arrested so far right now?
Yeah, so far 2 persons have been picked up and taken away by police officers around here, just for calm to be restored in the area.
All right, Femi, thank you very much. We'll keep a tab on you on developments from there, and stay safe. All right, Jokeli Jadu, let's cross over now. Jokeli Jadu is standing by. And Joke, it's good to have you join us now. Can you give us updates where you are? We've been hearing that card readers haven't been working in some polling units. Is it the same where you are? Joke, can you hear me?
Okay, well, here at the Kuru community, there are no issues. In Uhuegbu, there are no issues of cards here. So on here we stop at what? I can hear you. Where I am right now, they don't have use of card readers. But away from where
all right, Joke.
The present one election.
Joke, we have to put you on hold now. We can't clearly hear you. The audio is a little poor from where you are, but we'll try to fine tune that and get updates from where you are in Uhuegbu now.
Yeah, you see, unfortunately,
we were talking about IPOB,
and thank God this thing came up. You see, there are issues to be looked into or looked at. That's why I said at times the media projection at times may be misleading. One, if you remember, I said that you can't even, can you even talk about IPOB successfully without these big wigs that are contesting election? And the answer is no. So if they believe in IPOB, they won't even put themselves for election in the first place. Secondly, the massive turnout we've noticed so far will even tell you that people are not even interested in this issue of IPOB or no IPOB. Do you understand the thing? And that's one of the impressions we are trying to let the federal government to understand. That one or two persons having a belief and agitation does not mean it's speaking the mind of the totality of the people. And when you now take action that affects the totality of the people, you are infringing on people's rights. Because what you need to do is to go into those people and get them. And
that is where intelligence works.
Yeah, that is where intelligence works. Do you understand it? So with the filler you're seeing today, you can now see that people are talking differently entirely. And that is why when you begin to blow certain things, it gives unnecessary popularity to IPOB this, IPOB that. Okay, if actually somebody will be cited and people will say, hey, this is an IPOB member, that is to tell you to what extent they hate such thing or something like that. That is one. Secondly, we should be very careful. The security agents also have to be very careful. The government also has to be very careful. Anything can happen now. Somebody, your enemy can tag you an IPOB member now.
Automatically.
That's the issue.
Automatically.
You
That's the concern.
If
I don't like you.
If I go there now, yes.
If I know you to be a party
You understand the thing? Somebody can tag you an
party.
IPOB member. Now, you ask a question, was there anything done by any of them to suggest such? And there's no answer to that effect. One, these two boys that were picked up were not wearing the so-called IPOB uniform, at least to identify themselves that they are IPOB members. Two, when you got them, did you search them? Did you recover anything from them? And the answer is no. So how are you not sure? If do they have their PVC? Because one, if you don't have your PVC, you don't have any business there. But if you have your PVC, you have to, even without your PVC, you can still want to come and observe what is happening.
It's your right.
It is your right as a Nigerian and as an Amberian. Now, when you do some of these things and discover that, but unfortunately, the security agents we have here, it may turn to another thing. Tomorrow now, you hear that 20 IPOB members were arrested trying to truncate the election. But it is not true. I expect them to do an investigation immediately. First of all, they did well by removing those people, at least to save life first. You don't necessarily need to get to the police station. Every patrol team, according to Ekere, the current CP of Lagos State, that every patrol station is a mini police station. Yes, that is how police is supposed to work. Take them to that place, interrogate them. If they have their PVC, do you have your PVC? What are you coming to do this? And then release that person to go, provided the person has not done anything. Okay, you are saying that they were seeing some meters to where they
were too close to the ballot.
Who caused it? Is it not INEC? We even have, okay, you are saying that they were seeing some meters to where they
were too close to the ballot.
Who caused it? Is it not INEC? We even had that some people were helping the INEC officials.
Those were even closer.
Those were even closer.
But they were not arrested.
And when people come to check their candidate, for example, you may come now here that the candidate is not working. Say, like someone like me, there's an inclusive, I will say, let me even go and try my own. I may want to jump the queue to go there. Since all the people that have been in the queue is not working, maybe I might be lucky my work. And you tag me an IPOB member. We have to be very careful. There's no two ways about it. But my fear is this. I am seeing majority, if not half or more than half of an Amberian being defranchised today. If this situation continues, that is a worrisome situation. So the question now, what do we do? If the thing continues like this, do we go ahead with the election? Or do we call the election off?
All right. Now, let's listen to this call yesterday disregarding the threats by IPOB now, because it built up to this election. A lot of discordant tunes were flowing here and there. Well, people generally have been from what we just saw now, people on ground don't want to hear about anything IPOB. They just want to go about their normal business. But let's hear what the threats from IPOB and the debunking came earlier on.
We believe that through political means, our issue will be able to be discussed in the appropriate area and the appropriate table. So the customary government is very much in support of this election, and we've been calling on all Biafran people, wherever they are in Anambra State, to come out and vote, because it is your vote that actually determines your voice. And we have been campaigning against is threatening people not to come out and vote. You have right to decide to vote, to use your vote to decide whatever is happening in your society. So we are actually telling them that what they can do is to tell their own members not to vote, but don't threaten people. Don't order people you mustn't vote. It's your right to vote. I know that many of those people that are saying this have not been voting. We know very well, even the last election that was held in Anambra State, more than 80% didn't vote, and nobody told them not to vote, because we know that 300,000 out of 1.5 million were actually the people that were accredited during that election, in which case 20% just voted. So what we are saying is that it's anybody's right to decide to vote or not to vote, but don't go out threatening people, insisting don't come out. That is not civil.
All right, now we heard that now. Certainly, when it comes to IPOB, Justice, you put it rightly. I will agree with you to some extent, where it seemed like when you are outside of the East, it seemed like IPOB has taken over the entire place.
Yeah, that's the pressure you get.
But when you're in the East, you just know that, okay, some guys are doing something somewhere.
I just came back from the East a few days ago. In fact, it's unheard of. That's why at times when we come out here, we hear pop this, we hear pop that. As far as I'm concerned, this is unnecessary popularity that you don't need. And that's what we're trying to say. You understand it, but people don't understand it.
Right, but it's the duty of the media to actually go into all nooks and crannies.
Because if people are talking about it, if the people are talking about it, why not? Because the point there is that it's about opinion. It's about people. What are you thinking? What is in your mind? It is the role of the media to let others know what people there are thinking. But in this situation we have seen now, do you think the police was a little high-handed to have take it, because he said, well, like anywhere there is a police post is a mini police station. But to have taken those guys out and taken them off to the police station,
you are not too sure where they have taken them to.
But they've taken them out of that
I think that
area.
was the most reasonable thing to do. Take them out of that place. But what I do expect is for you to go and detain them somewhere. I expected that before detaining, you should check, search, find out what their mission was. That you can do without going to the police station, because should the guy possess a PVC, it means that he has the intention of voting. And the alibi that INEC has created could warrant whatever has transpired, because if the card reader was working and people were voting normally, it's very likely we will not witness that scenario. So since the card reader situation has brought about that chaotic and katakeros situation, you cannot but expect things of this kind. So you need to find out if such people actually had the intention of voting. But should they not possess anything like a PVC, and maybe they are not even from that particular, they are not registered voters in that area, then you can begin to raise the issue of IPOB to a different level, which means there is some level of corroboration. That
it's part of what Justice said earlier on, saying that, well, it seems if I don't like your face, I just say you are IPOB. Because those guys were there earlier on. They've been there. Let us assume.
And at that beginning, they were not IPOB members.
Exactly. Let's assume that from what Femi Akonde, our correspondent, said earlier on, well, the people know each other in the community. Good. Let us assume that these guys were amongst the people that were there maybe 30 minutes ago, 1 hour ago. Nobody labeled them IPOB. So automatically, all of a sudden, they become IPOB members.
Yes, because you can simply just, brand an opponent as IPOB member. In fact, I expected that by now one of the governorship candidates should be describing the other one as the patron of IPOB. And, yes, so those are the kind of things you find. That is the more reason why we need to be very careful about what we are doing. And in particular, the police have to be very, very careful with all these, labeling and all the rest of people as IPOB and not IPOB. Because if I notice that you are a stronghold of a party that is an opposition to my own, what stopped me from saying that you are a leader of IPOB and the rest? And when I know that the police will not waste any time to clamp down on you,
and then give me undue
and give me
some
I have
advantage.
all the advantage. Just like we find in Governor Obiano's area, there is no other political party agent. It's shocking. Out of 37, in any case, out of 5, let me not talk about 37, really. Out of those critical
the five major ones.
Yes, at least there should be, party agents. There's no way you could have only the APGA in the entire area. It's not going to be possible. So
even if it's the governor's stronghold, even if it's his polling unit,
no matter what it
village.
is, at least there should be a party agent. It's possible you might not get a vote, yes, but there should be somebody. Because how do we authenticate votes from that place? Because the other party agents ought to actually authenticate by signing what transpired. The result you are seeing is a reflection of what transpired. But as it is, it means that they can just bring anything. And being the governor, anything can happen. So that is a scenario that is very, very worrisome. Now, on the issue of security, IPOB and the rest, I expect that people should, exercise some patience, even though the card readers are malfunctioning and the rest, with the assurance from the INEC, officials that come what may, you will cast your vote. Because going by that previous announcement that there will be nothing like incidents, form, there will be nothing like, it has to be card reader, and the card reader, you already know that these card readers are not useful. Then it's going to create, but there should be a reversal of that. But from what Femi Akonde said, the people have not even resorted to the manual approach. It was only in Governor Obiano's unit that we've been told that at least he voted without a card reader. But what about the others? So if they are still making calls to the center, waiting for something at this hour, no voting has taken place, then it
because
is
they're
really
saying there's no plan B.
Yes.
They're saying there's no plan B at this time, because if you check the time, it's almost 11.
An electoral umpire not to have a plan B is in fact a plan to fail, because you must have plan B and even C. Should this one fail, what will be the next? There must be such options, so that you can address the system.
Justice, in a situation where INEC is supposed to be the conductor of this election, the umpire, comes with all their materials and it doesn't work. Now, should the people be agitated in the first place? Shouldn't they just wait and see whatever INEC has to do? If they come and the election doesn't hold, it's all right. So be it.
Cost follows events.
Okay.
We are human beings. We are not stones. In biology, we were taught about stimulus and response. So people must respond to stimulus. There's no two ways about it. How can you bring out people from their various homes since early morning and they wait till the whole day and nothing has happened or nothing seems to be happening? You expect them to be happy. Despite and owing to the fact that Anambra, there have been a lot of shutdown, a lot of problems of IPOB, so many people have lost their life in the process of IPOB or no IPOB, battle with the police and all the rest. And now they are now looking at a way to get it right. And you're now saying no. Moreover, was this thing planned overnight? Was the election planned overnight? That is the issue. It was not planned overnight. So that is what I'm trying to say. I am surprised, so to say, to hear that the REC officer is saying there's no plan B. I asked a question. If there's no plan B, where we are now, this is almost 11, what do we do? Does it mean that the election will be called off?
And then rescheduled for another day?
And rescheduled for another day? Remember, if you're rescheduling for another day, more cost. Nigerian money. You see, when we talk about corruption in this country, people don't understand. It is another form of corruption as far as I'm concerned. It's another. You see, you know why I say this? I keep on telling Nigerians, let them understand this. Corruption is any act of misconduct. Any dishonest conduct.
Not necessarily related to money.
No, that is where we have been getting it wrong in the issue of fighting corruption. Go and check the dictionary meaning of corruption. It said dishonest conduct. In anything you're doing, are you honest in that your conduct? And if the REC officer will be saying there's no plan B,
that's corruption.
That is corruption, as far as I'm concerned. Because you and I know, in 2015 it was used, it failed. It did not work total. It did not even work up to 20% capacity in the whole federation. Some elections have been held in Nigeria. I think we've had the Ondo, we'll have the Ekiti, Edo, the same problem.
And by-election in Osun.
And by-election in Osun, the same problem. Now we are having another election. And in all these elections, there were plan B. And we are having another election. You did not come to national television to tell Nigerians, look at the measure we have put in place to make sure that this thing is 100% working to optimum capacity. And you are now having the confidence and the courage to say there's no plan B. And that is why the INEC officers there are handicapped. Because they can't take it on their own. There must be you see, bureaucracy is killing us in this country. Which means there must be a directive, either from Abuja, that resort to manual voting. And before that comes, maybe we are getting by 12 or 1, which means you have to extend it. Extending it will get to the night. So are you now telling me it is not premeditated, or it is not, how do I call it, an initial plan? Because the moment you allow election get to the night, anything can happen. And that is what we are saying here. So I think the best thing we do in the first place, why would you not allow Obia not to vote? If you're not resorting to manual voting, why would you not allow him to vote manually?
Because that will give him undue advantage over others.
Is he more important than others?
Well, we've not even heard from the other governors, governorship candidates. I think they should give us reports on them. Let's know whether they have equally voted manually.
I'm just saying.
Because so far, all the units presented, they have the same issue with the card reader. It shows that the card readers are not working.
Obviously,
clearly.
From all the places we have really. But in all of this, Dr. Ekere, let me come to you on this. We remember that in 2015 election, even down to Otueke or down to Bayelsa or Maiduguri or Benue or wherever, the functionality or the success of the election, somehow everything was credited to Jega. Where people say, Jega, your blah 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 is not working here well, or the other. But on the whole overall, Jega took the credit or the blame for whatever worked and didn't work. Yeah. In this case, people are very bound to make comparison between the INEC chairman that time and then the INEC chairman now as to how pragmatic or how proactive he has been. What kind of pass mark would you give the current INEC chairman when you make reference to these incidences here and there?
Well, thank you. I think that there are challenges with the current INEC chairman. Interestingly, he was with Jaga. So that should have
he understood the system.
Yes, that should have given him greater advantage because he has been part of the system. He would have seen areas where Jega failed and areas where he had some, success. And by now would have been able to fine-tune the arrangements to the extent that he will build on Jega's successes. But that seemed not to be happening because Jega, the kind of postponement of elections that this man had, we never had such records with Jega. Whether before card readers or whatever, Jega never had that kind of. So Mahmoud has now really, lived up to expectation. And if you talk about giving him marks, well, I don't think he has gotten up to average as far as I'm concerned. Because when you want to evaluate a man, you look at, the resources at his disposal. To evaluate a man, you look at, the resources at his disposal. What is at the disposal of the current INEC chairman presupposes that he should be living above board because he has undergone the system, he has been part of it, he has participated in it, he has learned from somebody, who was there before him. So I don't expect this kind of challenges from him. Yeah, so the blames will equally go to him. Just like it would have been if he had performed very well, the same way we are going to blame him for every wrong done. But with respect to this Anambra election, it looks like Professor Mahmoud never really had, a very broad-based arrangement as to how to make this system work perfectly. Okay. Because having seen and I'm sure it's the same card readers, they've not acquired new ones.
Yes,
are you getting it? Now, so when they were new, very new, I don't know whether they are the ones we call second hand or you know, that we call Tokumbo here. When they were very new, when they were newly acquired, they never performed optimally. Now, along the line, they were even getting worse. Now, the same card readers are the things you are deploying to an election like this, and you are relying on them 100%. Yeah. I think that was a plan to fail, you know. But all the same, I want to think that he should be able to, at the moment, the way the situation is, by now he would have been getting situation reports, he should be able to take very decisive steps to ensure that the system is not truncated, resort to what we are used to, until we are able to get to a level where we can now embrace what you are looking at. Because electronic voting does not end with card readers. The same INEC that said that, okay, you can upload, because results have to be uploaded from the unit.
From the unit to the ward,
right?
ward to...
Yeah, because from the unit, if there is a way in which you can send this result online, such that when you get to the collation center, those figures can no longer change. Then you will know that truly you are prepared for electronic voting.
Exactly. Justice mentioned South Africa earlier on. These are normal things where the moment election is conducted from the unit transmits the result to the ward level, and the ward level transmits to the election center, where it's called the election center in Pretoria. And everyone knows. So you can be there and you begin to know who is winning, what results are coming from wherever part of the country, as the case may be. I wonder what it's going to take us to get to that level.
You see, I keep on saying that do we have sincerity of purpose in anything we're doing? And once there is no sincerity of purpose in what you are doing as an individual, as a group, as an association, as a body, the next thing is corruption, is what you're doing. The last election held in NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, we resorted to electronic voting. We stayed in our house, in our various houses, used our phone and laptop and vote. That was how we voted last. The current NBA president.
So which means
it's
this kind
workable.
of voting is possible.
I said it's workable.
Even
we can do it.
Election that they run, that's what they do.
The problem we have is this, lack of sincerity of purpose. You see, because they know, if you resort to genuine electronic voting, there will not be rigging. The issue of who pays the piper dictates the tune will not be there. The issue of I want to favor the person who appointed me, I want to favor this person, I want to favor, will not be there. Because the whole thing will be there. Even you yourself will be assessing it. And that is, if each day we give reference to the US, to UK, to all these places, look at it. You know, I gave you an instance of what happened in Austria. A boy, because if he's in Nigeria, they will call him a boy. 31 years today is the president. Just concluded the election. Can it happen in Nigeria? Why? Because as you're voting, everybody is receiving it. It's online. And that's why the South Africans will vote and go to work. Or you go to your business. Because as you're going, you're assessing the whole process, the whole system in your phone, in your device. You don't need to stay there and do any by any to carry to pilot the ballot papers to the collection center. And when you go there, you start having squabble and scheme with the security agents. No, yes. But we have the resources, even more than these countries that are doing it. But the problem we have is corruption.
The will, yeah.
It's corruption. It's sincerity purpose.
Yeah.
It's sincerity purpose. Dishonest conduct of people. Because why? Because if many of them know that if they lose election, they are not ready to go out. They are not even ready to lose election. And what is the reason? Politics have become a profession in Nigeria, which ordinarily not supposed to be a profession. If you now ask somebody, what do you do for a living? You tell you, I'm a politician. Is that not a shame?
Okay,
but it's pain. So what do you want to call it?
All right, we have our correspondent Joke online now. Let's hear what she has for us right now. Joke, good morning. It's good to have you on right now. We couldn't hear you earlier, but I know we can hear you now. Give us a situation report where you are.
Well, I'm at Nnewi North Local Government area now. That's in Anambra South Senatorial District. Earlier, I passed through Uhuegbu area, and at the time I passed through, I think about 10 o'clock, No, INEC officials were not there yet. The people were actually waiting patiently. They were not agitated. They said if INEC officials get there by 2, they will start accreditation by 2 and start voting by that time. I also left that area for Uru. At Uru, people had come out in mass. INEC officials got there early enough, and voting was going on without any itch. Card readers were working perfectly. At the polling unit where I stopped, they had about, I think, 6 to 10 voting points in Uru complex, and they had no issues at all. So far, so good. In Newi, there seems to be not many issues with the use of card readers in areas where they are voting. I'm on my way to Ntolo now. I'm hoping that when I get there, I would see what I saw in Uru, as in with the voter turnout and with accreditation starting on time and voting process, going smoothly.
Oh, all right. Well, you can only hope until you get there to know how the situation is on ground. Well, this is the first report we're hearing of card readers working perfectly, because all the places we have heard earlier on, card readers were not working and the people were getting a little agitated. But talk to us about the turnout. What is the level of turnout where you have visited?
The turnout here has been very impressive. In the polling unit I went to, where they had INEC officials on ground, people came out en masse to vote. But of course, in areas where INEC officials were not there already, people are already waiting, even though maybe not in their numbers. But, from the feelers I got, people have come, they've gone back, and they're hoping that, when the officials come, they will reach out to the other people who have left so they can come out to vote. But voter turnout has been very impressive.
All right, talk to us about security. We know that there has been massive deployment of security on ground for this election generally. But for the places you have visited, did you see much of security personnel on ground?
Yeah, I can't say much, but the number of security personnel here is sizable, but as good as compared to ones I've seen in Oka, where I was coming from. Here, there are policemen around, not much of military presence, but security is on ground here.
Okay, talk to us generally about turnout for women. What is the rate of turnout of women in relationship to the men there?
I didn't get that.
Talk to us about the turnout of women turnout, the female turnout.
Yeah, old people are coming out, women are coming out massively. I saw loads and loads of women where I went to vote. Some people who are old, they are seated, they have chairs for them to sit. But they're coming out to vote. They have no problems at all with the process. They are happy that, what the tension that they had experienced, or, what they were thinking was they were going to have issues, over the various groups who have come out to say they shouldn't come out to vote. They are happy that they are seeing a very smooth process, and they are hoping that it will be free and fair.
All right, what are they saying about the earlier directive or the threat, let me say, by IPOB that they shouldn't come out to vote?
Yes, most of the people I spoke to said they had initial inhibitions about coming out to vote, but then when they came out just to maybe spy around and see what was going on at the polling unit, and they met INEC officials there, they met people coming out to vote, they thought, they thought that there was really no problem, and then they decided to come out to cast their vote. So they are happy that every other thing that they had said in the past is not holding water now. Okay.
Jokeli Jadu, thank you. We will keep a tab on you on the developments there. Thank you. Now, Justice was talking about the issue of age earlier on. If we look at the 5 major contenders, about 2 of them are in their mid-40s, early to mid-40s, and the others are in their 60s, as the case may be.
Early 60s.
Yeah, early 60s.
We don't have any, I don't think there's any who is in his late 60s, really. So early 60s.
Yeah, but in this case, do you think that being a young person because the majority of those who are registered voters in Anambra State, we have lots of youths among them. Do you think age is going to be a factor in some of the decision to pattern a vote in a certain way, in a certain direction?
Well, I don't think so, really. I don't think age is going to determine this election, you know. But the issue that Justice raised earlier was the possibility of young people, people of that age, early 30s and the rest, participating in election and the rest, and winning elections. You know, when you look at the bottlenecks to even, you know, secure party tickets, the resources needed, obviously it becomes clear that the youth have no place, because you notice that those who have the resources to spend to secure, you know, positions in parties are people who have been in government. Some of them former civil servants, you know, some of them have worked with government. There are very few who have done businesses on their own. So which shows that all they have been doing is stealing government funds, because I don't know any of those ones who have, you know, done, you know, businesses on their own to the point of securing such billions. They've not shown us such, you know, records of how they made all those monies. Although some have been bankers and the rest of it, but there are backbones they had over time, and the money usually comes from government. So considering the enormous funds you need to secure party tickets and even to campaign around the way campaigns are being done today, then the youth are really going to have a serious challenge. But with respect to the Anambra election, I do not see, you know, the youngest among them winning on the basis of age. He will only win based on what he has told the people, based on what he has shown them that he is capable of doing. So if for any reason any of them has been able to convince the people that I have the capacity to do this, and the people have actually seen that capacity reflect, then there is a that they will go in that line.
All right, we have an election observer joining us from Anambra State now, Nelson Ekujumi. Nelson, good morning. It's good to have you join us now. I know you are on ground where you are. What have you observed so far? How satisfied are you? We've been hearing that card readers haven't been working in some places, but we just got a report from one of our reporters saying that card readers were working perfectly. But out of the places we've heard, only one place we have heard so far that card readers are perfectly working. Can you tell us what you have observed so far?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm in Ezinifite Okuno in Oka South local government now. I've been to about 6 polling units. I've been to polling units 002, 001, 007, 008, and 003. And from my observation so far, the election is going on well, except that INEC started a little bit late. Their logistics was not that very perfect. In some places, they started at about after 9. In some, they started about 7, 8, thereabouts. But so far, in most of the polling units visited, the candidates are working well, except for 1 or 2. And, you know, the rules state that when the candidate is not functioning properly, that you should, the polling officer should allow manual accreditation and voting with the would-be voter filling what is known as the incident form. And that is what is going on. Nobody is being disenfranchised as a result of the malfunctioning of the candidate in negligible places. But so far, so good. From reports all over the state now, the election is going on well. Voting and accreditation is going on simultaneously. And where candidates are malfunctioning, you know, INEC had already made provisions that they are alternative, they are substitute candidates, because from the INEC, from the Resident Electoral Commissioner, he told us that they have 6,500 card readers, such that where one misbehaves, the INEC official or the polling officer immediately contact the technical